What's up guys, what's up guys, what's up guys, and I wanted to kind of do this video because I'm kind of excited about some shoes that have come out or are coming out, and it just, I don't know, it just kind of gets me excited. So two real shoes that I guess are coming out that I'm just super excited for is the Nike Pegasus 38 and the Nike React Miler 2. So before I get into it, guys, if you could, please click that like and subscribe button. Really helps me out, really helps me do more videos on this channel moving forward. So thank you guys again for clicking and watching this video going forward. So I have seen the pictures of the new Nike Pegasus 38, and I am very pleased with what they've done with the shoe. Although as a daily trainer, I'm not exactly sure if I would buy the next iteration after buying the 37, and I'll explain why. So the 37, the things that I disliked about it was the lockdown was atrocious. Okay, I could never get my foot to lock down properly in that shoe. Unfortunately, I don't have it anymore. I got rid of it because I had hit the mileage mark that I wanted to on it. It was worn out, the midsole was dead. I mean, it was just, it was beat up. But it took me a while to do that. A lot of painful miles to do that. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link in the description below about my, I think it was a 100-mile review on that particular shoe. So the updates that Nike has done to that is they changed the lace loop system to, I think, something that's a little bit more forgiving. It's, you know, the lace loop that was on the Pegasus 37 was like this really hard leather, plasticky, whatever type of material, and it offered like no flexibility. So once you got it locked down to your foot tends to like swell when you run, right? That's just what happens, you know, when you're beating the crap out of your feet for so many for so long. Your foot tends to swell. Well, because of how hard that was, it would compress your foot down, and as your foot is trying to swell up a little bit, the shoe would not let it, and it would become quite uncomfortable. So you'd either have to stop the run, readjust the laces, or you'd have to like skip a loop or something to reduce some of that pressure over that midfoot area. But even then, some of the other issues that it had to do with was that you couldn't get the heel to lock down properly. It always felt like your foot was lifting out of the shoe for whatever reason, and you never really felt like that air zoom unit was really there. It was there, but it just wasn't, I don't know, because I guess maybe you couldn't get your foot like locked down that well. It just never felt like you were attached to the shoe the way that you should have been to begin with. Like if I get in my gel Nimbus Lights, I feel that gel that's in the forefoot. Like I feel it. I never felt that air zoom unit in the Pegasus 37 because I never felt like my foot was locked down the way that it should have been. So Nike did away with the old lace loop system, put a new lace loop system in. Unfortunately, they didn't bring back the Flywire. I wish they did, because that was one of my favorite things about the 35 and the 36 was the Flywire lockdown system, but I get it, whatever. So they went with an updated lace loop system that I think is a little bit more forgiving and offers a little bit better lockdown. Also went with a thicker tongue to it to provide a little bit extra padding to it. And by the looks of it, it looks a little bit more breathable, but I have seen some other reviews that have said that the inside, when you slip your foot in, it feels more plush, almost like a Saucony Triumph kind of plush. So I don't know, I'll have to try them out. I also like to find out if that lockdown is a little bit better in that heel cup area. It looks like it is better. It looks like they've added a little bit more material back there. That being said, the shoe does weigh a little bit more than the 37, but I'll be honest with you, willing to sacrifice a little bit of weight if the shoe actually performs better. The other problem that I have, and this is why I don't know if I'll actually buy the 38s, is because the midsole to me felt rather dead. Like it didn't have any bounce to it compared to other daily trainers that are out there on the market. Like for instance the Asics Nova Blast, or even the Flowride Energy 3.0s, or even getting into the Puma Velocity Nitros, which have a lot of bounce to it, a lot of cushion and bounce, and so on and so forth. The midsole, the React midsole in the Pegasus 37, which is the same that's in the 38, just didn't really have that lively kind of bounce to it. But it also didn't feel like it was kind of forgiving or squishy enough to provide any like impact resistance. It just kind of felt dead. Like it's React foam, which on most React shoes is actually really good. Like I love the Epic React 2. I love the Odyssey React Flyknit 2s. I actually do like the React Infinity runs. So, but for some reason, the midsole that was in the Pegasus 37 just, I don't know, it just didn't feel good. So maybe they did do some changes. I'll try them out. Maybe I'll go to the store, try them out, see if I actually like them. From there, I'll make that decision. But price point, $119, pretty much in line with every single one that's ever been out there before. So price point's actually pretty good. I'll give them a nod for that, for not changing the price point. It's right in line with other daily trainers that are out there that are usually around 100 to 130 bucks. So got to give it to Nike for keeping that price point there. Going into the Nike React Miler 2, I love the Miler 1. I did. I absolutely loved it. Midsole was absolutely amazing. It was squishy. I wouldn't say it's a shoe that's like just built to go out and just put miles in. It's not built for speed. It's not built to be responsive. It's not built to do. It's just a shoe that you go out and just go for a run and put in a bunch of miles. And I loved that about that shoe. It's fantastic. So what they did to the updates on this new one, the problem that the React Miler 1 had was breathability. It was a shoe that ran hot. You know, everything else I thought was great. I thought the comfort was good. I thought the structure was good. Honestly, I thought everything was really good on that shoe, but the upper was a little on the warmer side. So they've updated the upper on it. It appears that it's a little bit more breathable, and it seems like they've also added 2 lace loop lines on the midfoot area to provide a little bit better lockdown over the top of the foot. I really never felt like lockdown was an issue on the Miler 1, but maybe other runners had that issue, so adding just 2 extra lace loops on it, yeah, I could see. Maybe it makes it a little bit better lockdown, a little bit more comfortable run. Now, the one thing that I have to say about the React Miler and the Miler 2 was, and especially the Miler 1, I think that was the preemptive test run of the Invincible run. Because if you look at the Invincible, the ZoomX Invincible run, it looks, as far as its overall design cues are concerned, it looks very, very similar to the Miler, the original Miler. Obviously, they went Flyknit, they added some extra padding, there's a lot more stack height, and of course it's got ZoomX on it, but it almost seems like the overall design concept of it came from the React Miler, and they said, let's do this, but with ZoomX on it, and it worked. Because they just, I don't know, it just, to me, the 2 shoes almost look very similar to each other. Obviously some differences there as far as the technology that's concerned, but they looked very similar to each other. So the React Miler 2, I'm going to give that a thumbs up. I hope that I will be able to get another pair of React Milers. I love long distance shoes. Like, man, I'm a sucker for long distance shoes. I'm not gonna lie, like cushion, long distance runner shoes that I can just put on and put a lot of miles in. I love those shoes. Saucony Triumph. I've got the Saucony Axons, which those are more daily trainer, but they might work. Asics Glide Ride, my Asics Gel Nimbus Lights. I mean, I could just keep going. Oh, the Nike Winflo 7s, which brings me into the third and final one. Nike Winflo 8s. Yes, you guys are going to ask me about it because I did do that video on the Winflo 7s. I love the Winflo 7s. The Winflo 8s, now I've looked it over and I've looked at the specs, and the Winflo 7 and the Winflo 8s are actually very similar to each other, but it seems like they've updated the upper a little bit more. One of my favorite features, and I mentioned this about the Pegasus, Flywire. Nike, thank you, thank you, thank you. On the Winflo 8s, they brought back the Flywire. Now, the Flywire went away after the Winflo 5, which is by far my favorite Nike shoe to ever run in, was the Winflo 5. And that had Flywire, it had Cushlon foam, but it only had 1 air zoom unit in the heel of the shoe. But this new iteration, the Winflo 8, that is coming out, the midsole and the outsole are exactly the same as the Winflo 7. So that doesn't change, which I think is a good thing, because I actually do like that high cushion feel of that Cushlon foam, that big stack height. It's also got a really wide base to it, so it's a pretty stable shoe. It's also got a really durable outsole to it, so I really like what they did with the Winflo 7. So the midsole and outsole, I wouldn't have changed anything either. The Air Zoom unit in the forefoot and in the heel, I think is perfect for the shoe. It's just got enough like arch support in it that it, you know, it's going to help you on the long runs, but it's not so pronounced like the Infinity runs that it, you know, you can be comfortable while running in that shoe. So I think the midsole and the outsole, I'm glad that they kept that, but they did fix the upper. They added Flywire on the Winflo 8, which is going to hopefully help the lockdown. Again, I didn't have an issue with the lockdown. I love the lockdown on the Winflo 7, by the way. I had no issues with the Winflo 7 lockdown. Winflo 8 has Flywire on it. They brought back the Flywire. I'm so happy about that. You guys have no idea. So yes, do I want to try that shoe? Absolutely. I am willing to give that one a go, and especially since Nike, and you're keeping it real, 90 bucks, brand new, Air Zoom, Cushlon, Flywire. I mean, you guys are bringing back the Pegasus 35 and 36, essentially a little bit softer cushioning, but 35 and 36 with Flywire and everything, it's for 90 bucks. I mean, it's pretty stellar. Is it a daily trainer shoe? I don't know if I'd use it as a daily trainer. It's definitely a long run shoe. It's got a lot of cushion to it. It's very hard to pick up the pace in that shoe. It does have some bounce to it because of the Air Zoom units, but I'll be honest with you, I think the Air Zoom units are mainly there as just cushion, to be completely honest with you. So those are the 3 Nike shoes I kind of wanted to go over that are brand new, just came out. Can't wait to get my hands on maybe 1 or 2 of those. It's kind of a deciding factor between the Miler and the Winflos. Probably go with the Miler first because I just miss that shoe immensely. And then a couple other ones that just came out. Talking about the Adidas, or Adidas. We'll go with Adidas. So Adidas just released some photos of the new Boston 10s, which if you ran in the Boston 9s, I never got a chance to, but Boston 9s used a mix of light strike foam and boost foam. And boost is like, it's an amazing midsole material, incredibly bouncy and incredibly comfortable, but heavy. It's very heavy. And my wife actually has a pair of Boost shoes, and they're pretty heavy shoe, but for her, because she's not much of a runner, and she's trying to get into it, Boost is probably perfect for her, but for me, that's just way too heavy. But anyways, so it's using Light Strike and Light Strike, I think it's Light Strike Pro, which is supposed to be a little bit softer than regular Light Strike. So it's got a dual layer system that is supposed to be super lightweight. It's basically the Adidas SL20s type of midsole, but there's a little bit like more cushion in the Light Strike Pro. So it's lightweight, but it's got a super high stack height on it. Like compared to the Boston 9, it's almost like double the stack height when you look at the photos of the two. It's pretty crazy when you see the two of them. So, you know, I always thought the Boston 9 was just a cool shoe. I've actually wanted to run in the Boston 9, but seeing the Boston 10 and having that like super high stack height to it, I'm actually kind of excited about that. It is not, as far as I've seen, it's not a plated shoe. So it's not a shoe that'll be in the category with the with my DV8 Nitros or my Saucony Endorphin Speeds, but it's a lightweight, high stack height, responsive type of shoe that's got a lot of cushioning underneath that'll hopefully last you what would be, because we're talking about Boston here, Boston, right? So if you're talking about Boston, it's got to be the Boston Marathon, so 26.2 miles. It's got to have that cushioning for 26.2 miles, and I think that that shoe is definitely going to have it. As far as its speed is concerned, obviously you're going to want to go with the Adidas Adizero Adios Pro, whatever it is, for those type of runs. So for a carbon plated shoe. But I think the Boston 10 is going to be a fantastic shoe that can be a trainer for those, or you can even use it probably for a half marathon. It's not going to win you the race, but it'll get you to the end of the race. So we'll go with that. So that's another one that I'm kind of excited about. So I think that's 4 shoes that I'm kind of excited about. Obviously Puma's already put out all of their new Nitro shoes. I love the DV8 Nitros and whatnot. So I'm trying to think of anything else that's out there right now other than Saucony, which has released some photos, or there's been leaked photos, I guess you could say, about the Endorphin Speed 2 and the Endorphin Pros. Looks like they've updated the upper a little bit, but the midsole, outsole is all the same. So thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it, and you know, as always guys, enjoy the run.